The curse of the Kreischer mansion. They say there are places where time stands still. Where history never dies, it merely changes form. And keeps breathing through the walls. In Staten Island, New York, there stands a 3-story house that seems asleep. Its dust-covered windows reflect the passing years. But those who dare to enter swear that inside, the past never rests. This is the true story of the Kreischer mansion. A tale of tragedy, madness, and something that never wanted to leave. Balthasar Kreischer was a German magnate of the 19th century. A brick manufacturer, a man of fortune and ambition. He built 2 identical mansions for his sons, Edward and Charles. Atop a windy hill where the breeze never stopped whispering. Elegant houses, with dark slate roofs and pointed towers. And staircases that seemed to rise straight into the sky. But soon, one of them filled with shadows. Edward, the youngest, began to change. He stopped going out, spoke little, and slept even less. Servants claimed that at night, whispers echoed behind his door. They said he was talking to someone, though he was completely alone. Sometimes they found him standing before the mirror, eyes fixed. As if something were watching him from the other side of the glass. On June 8, 1894, Edward Kreischer was found lifeless in his study. The official version spoke of a tragic accident. But the letters he left behind were stained with a thick, dark liquid. As if the ink had mixed with something else. From that day on, the mansion was considered cursed. Decades later, when the Kreischer family left Staten Island, the house stood empty. The beams twisted, the walls grew mold. And the garden filled with thorns and crooked trees. Still, the air inside remained heavy, dense. As if it was breathing an invisible presence. In the 1990s, curious teenagers began sneaking into the property. They lit dark candles, painted symbols, and performed strange rituals. Some did it for fun, others, seeking to summon something. Neighbors said they heard screams at dawn. And saw lights dancing behind the broken windows. A pale-faced man was seen standing on the main balcony. Others swore it was Edward. In 2005, tragedy struck again. A caretaker attacked a coworker in the basement. During the trial, he claimed a voice had told him to do it. A voice that came from the walls. Years later, a young documentarian named Elena Vargas decided to film an episode about haunted houses. She had a small urban exploration channel. She didn't believe in ghosts, she only wanted a good story. She arrived with 2 friends, Mateo and Sarah. It was a gray afternoon, the wind howled endlessly. And the branches hit the walls as if trying to stop them. "We're here to investigate the Kreischer mansion," said Elena, looking into the camera. "They say Edward's spirit still waits here." Her voice echoed through the empty halls. The floor creaked beneath their steps. Old portraits, covered in dust, seemed to follow them with their eyes. They walked through the main hall, lit only by a flashlight. The silence was so deep that every breath sounded like a stranger's sigh. Then, a chair moved on its own. No one had touched it. Elena laughed nervously, thinking it was the wind. But when they reviewed the footage later, a man's voice could be heard whispering her name. That night, they decided to stay. They wanted more evidence. They placed cameras along the hallways, and one in the basement. While checking the blueprints in the dining room, they heard footsteps above. Slow. Dragging. As if someone was walking barefoot across old wood. "It's probably an animal," said Mateo. But when they went upstairs, the hallway was empty. Only a mirror, covered by a yellow sheet. Elena pulled it off. And in the reflection, she swore she saw a man behind her. With sunken eyes and a twisted smile. When she turned around, no one was there. In the early hours, they went down to the basement. The door was sealed with a rusty chain. They broke it, and a damp smell filled the air. But there was something else. A metallic scent, hard to describe. The floor was covered in red symbols. And on the wall, a name repeated dozens of times, Edward Kreischer. The silence was broken by a deep, masculine whisper. It wasn't any of them. The voice spoke in German. Later, they would learn what it said. "You have come to free me." Her friends shouted for her to stop. But she didn't seem to hear. She placed her hand over one of the symbols. The flashlight flickered. And a shadow rose behind her. The camera fell to the floor. On the recording, only labored breathing is heard. And Sarah crying, begging to leave. Then, a loud thud, and silence. When the light returned, Elena stood before the wall, head down. She slowly lifted her gaze. Her eyes were completely black. "There's no way out," she said. Her voice distorted, doubled. "He never left." Matteo tried to hold her. But he was thrown back as if by an invisible force. Sarah screamed and ran to the stairs. The door slammed shut with a deafening sound. The camera shook, then went dark. The next morning, police found the group's car parked outside the mansion. The doors were open, their filming equipment scattered on the ground. In the basement, they discovered the main camera, still recording. There was no trace of the three friends. The footage ended facing the back wall. Next to Edward's name, 3 new handprints appeared, marked in dark red. Since then, no one has officially entered again. The grounds are fenced off. But ghost hunters claim to hear noises at night. Doors slamming, footsteps in the attic. And a voice whispering random names. Neighbors say that on stormy nights, a light turns on in the 3rd floor window. And if you get too close, you can make out a figure watching you. Sometimes, it looks like a man in an old suit. Other times, a woman with long dark hair and hollow eyes. No one lives there. But every year, someone tries to go in. And some never come out. Perhaps Edward's spirit isn't alone. Perhaps the house holds something deeper. Something that feeds on fear, pain, and human curiosity. They say if you ever walk past the mansion and hear your name, never turn around. Because if you do, you'll realize you're not alone. And you'll finally understand why no one ever escapes the Kreischer mansion.